Alright, old Gatekeeper here. Here is a fairly unique amplifier. This is a amp that I put together last year around Manchester time. I was going to try to take it with me to Manchester or get it done and sell it, but I was able to obtain some funds from a few other projects to fund my trip over to Manchester last year. But anyway, I think I'm gonna go ahead and let it go and throw it up on eBay. And I'm gonna have to dig up the pictures I took. I took some pictures while I was putting it together to show that these Toshibas are brand new. They are brand new Toshibas. So I put them in there myself. And I got some pictures of me doing them. I'll have to go find them and put them with the video. These days you kind of got to do that because these things are so high. You know, people are using used Toshibas, and they may be possibly saying they're new or whatever. So I did take pictures while I was putting them in there. So anyway, there's kind of a funny story behind this box. This was the second case that I ever had painted by my buddy at the collision center that does all my candy paint and regular paint on my boxes, and he said this is one of his favorite colors. I myself have had it all this time because I didn't know who would like this color. When it's in the perfect light, it looks like more of a magenta, and it's got like a slight of a sparkle in it. And you can kind of tell too, well, you can't really tell on the camera, but on the edges it's a little darker. It's kind of like a small fade to it. On the edges it's a little darker, and it's a little lighter right there. But I mean, if you look right here, kind of the overspray here, it looks pink. So if it's in the light at one angle, it kind of does look like a pink color, and another angle, when it get like a little, when the light gets off of it and it's more of a darker and violet environment, it looks more of a magenta color or whatever. So you know, I know that, you know, it'd be an awesome box for a female. A lot of guys I know out there doesn't mind that type of color. But I just never found a use for it until I come across this board right here. Alright, the story behind this board right here, this is actually a Fatboy board. Okay, this board was in a Fatboy bass amplifier, but somehow the guy was able to obtain the box with no transistors, meaning it was brand new but did not have any transistors in it. I have no idea how he obtained it. I didn't get any of that information. Maybe he contacted them and bought it with no transistors. But he was going to put some Motorola transistors in it, but he never got around to it. So I just traded them for the board and the supply that was in it, and he kept the case. He said he was going to do some project with it or whatever. But anyway, so I've had the board for about a year, and back then I did a little bit of work to it, not much at all. There was two 500 picofarad caps right here. I took it off and put a metal 1000 on there, and it'll heat a little bit better. There was no feedback circuits on here, so I put the feedbacks on it. Not sure why there wasn't any on there. I had to retune the input. When I put it together, there was some input reflect, and there was about a watt, 1 watt. Yes, 1 watt. There's about 1 watt of input reflect. So I don't really understand why. The way this design is, it should be a 180. But so anyway, so I tuned that and got the reflect out of the box, the input, so all the power's making it into it. So it's got an invert circuit preamp on it, so you can run the preamp with the box off. just like that. And the cool thing about this box also is it's biased. It's biased closer to B. Well, it's kind of in between A, B, and B if you ask me. I say it's a little bit closer to B bias myself, but it's biased for sideband. I'm going to show you the voltage that's set on the transistors. Another cool thing about the box is it's regulated biased, and I'm about to show you that now, which is pretty cool. And the SSB switch is back here. It was just a little bit more easier for me to put it back there because this button was in here when my painter painted it, so I just thought I'd just put it back there. To save a little bit of time, I used switches with LEDs on it I had laying around in the old drawer, and threw a fan on it, and it's just been sitting around. I have not used it myself at all. I have not even used it on the air at all. I just was putting it together and did not sell it. So I need a little bit of extra cash. Oh, one more thing is there was some 18 gauge wire from here to the output transformer. I just changed that with 14 gauge, and that's it, man. That's it. I just ran the wire. The wire was actually already soldered. I just ran the wire and up to the switches and installed a fan, and just did some small minor things. So it's a Fatboy board, constructed by the Gatekeeper. So you got brand new Toshibas. Y'all keep that in mind while bidding on it, okay? Alright, here's the cool thing I was wanting to show about the regulated AB. Alright, this right here is hooked up to the bias voltage. Is going to be going to the base of each transistors. Alright, as you see, it's sitting at 0.51 volts. Now the cool thing about it is right here at this point it's .68, pulling about 100 milliamps. That's straight AB biased right there. But once it goes through this 1.8 ohm resistor right here, it drops down to 0.51. That's all Fatboy circuit, so I'm just going to leave it be. I'm not going to do anything with that. But check this out. A lot of problems with bias circuits is when you change your voltage, the voltage and current is going to change on the base of the transistors. As you see, we're at 14.2 volts, right? Now watch this. I'm going to turn the variable all the way up. You'll hear the fan increase too. You might have heard the fan increase a little bit. 15.2 volts. Still at the same exact voltage on the base. Now watch this. I'm going to turn it all the way down. 12.6 volts. Still at the same exact voltage on the base. Ain't that neat? So that's pretty cool. I still would not recommend running this on an unregulated supply. And you might ask why, just because I have not tested that. But the reason why I would say to not run it on a regulated supply is because this right here is a 5 volt regulator that's in circuit with this. Floating at 20 volts down to 5 is a big drop. That equals heat. Oh yeah, one last thing I did do. I put this heatsink right here, as you can see right here on the regulator. There wasn't one on there. Without this fan hitting it, leaving it on for about 10 minutes, I noticed that, you know, it was hot. It was pretty hot. Now with this on there, it just gets warm to the touch, and with that fan hitting it, it's going to stay nice and cool. But that's a 5 volt regulator. I'm thinking more of maybe rocking with a dual regulator system, or with a pass transistor at least, and then you could run it on an unregulated supply. But I say just keep it around, you know, 12 to 15 volts or so. I wouldn't go any higher than that. That's just my personal preference. Alrighty, let's go ahead and jump on into the output of it. I'll show you the preamp real quick. It works too. I already tested it. With the invert circuit, you can hear it clicking. Hear it clicking? I'm keying now. Unkey. Oh. So you can use the preamp with the amp off. Alright. This is a 4-watt radio, my bench radio driving into it. 4 watts RMS, so it's about 18 to 20 peak. And this is what we get. 1,000-watt slug as usual, most of the time. Oh, an even 100 bird. Oh, what are we talking on this thing? We talking about 90 bird to 100? Input reflect. Like I said, this was at 1 watt before I retuned the input. Do, just a little movement, not much. Do, beautiful, beautiful. Ooh, alrighty. Let's take a look at the peak with this low amount of drive. This is a high drive amplifier. 2 brand new, spanking new Japanese soldiers. Ooh, about 280 watts peak, creeping around 300. This is a linear amplifier. Let me remind everybody, this is no Class C mall. This would be a great amplifier for sideband usage. Okay. Alright, let's put a little bit more drive in it, y'all. I'll be right back. Alrighty. We got the Stickman modified Cobra 29. We're going to be doubling our input drive. And I just remembered one last thing I did do to the box. The output transformer is almost sitting on the board on the back. So I just put a little leg back there to keep it off the board. That can be dangerous. I personally have never seen one short out myself, but I know it can happen, and I've heard of it happening. All right. We're on 14.3 volts, by the way, y'all. All right. Here's RMS. Load. 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 It's like about 150 or so. I think this thing wants some more amperage is what it wants. Peak. Ooh. Thing shot up there, didn't it? Ooh. Right there, almost 300 watts. See, these AB boxes, they pull a little bit more amperage. So here's what I'm going to do. I could turn the voltage up on that, but I'm going to put it on a supply. It's got some decent amperage, so we can see what this box really can do. But since it's going to be my normal unreg supply that I use over there, I'm just going to put it on the medium tap. It's going to be floating at 18. I'm just going to do a quick burp with it, turn it off, just so you would think by this time that old Gatekeeper would have spent the time to make himself a good power supply, bench supply. But I'll show y'all how busy I stay. I have not had time to do it yet, but I will be either making time or getting one of my fellow builders out there that I know to build me one, since I don't have the time. I do need a good, powerful 600 amp at least regulated supply, but in the meantime I make do. How about that? All right, y'all give me 1 second. I'm going to hook this up to the unreg 100 amp supply, but put it on the medium tap and do a quick burp so we can see what this thing really can do. This ain't a Class C mall, y'all. It's a good linear amplifier. It's going to get you out there decently, make you sound good. Could be used as a driver too. We'll be back. Alright, I unhooked the fan because it ain't regulated. I've got a little 4.7 ohm resistor on it, but I don't trust that with that much voltage. Alright, so I just unhooked the fan since I'm on an unregulated supply. Alright, I wouldn't have to do this if I had me a good, regulated supply built. But so this would give you a little demonstration of what it would do on all the current it needs, pretty much, if you had it on a good supply. This supply right here does not work well as it should. It's more just of a reference test supply I use to show you smaller amplifiers, you know. And then I'll usually just step up and go on to the 100 amp after that. Alrighty. Here we go. We're just going to do some quick burps, okay? RMS first. Oh, we're at 200 watts RMS. Oh, alright. PEP. Oh, and this right here is dropping to 15.5. Oh, good safe voltage. Oh, that's right there about 450, 500. What's this thing talking on RMS? About 180? About 180? Just talking, getting down. Alright. That's all I'm going to do with her, y'all. I say she's working like she should be. Off the eBay it goes. Y'all keep in mind this is a brand spanking new unit. This board, the box this board was in, had never been used. It came with no pills, and I know 100% that it was. I know what fresh pill holes look like. So it's a brand new unit, so you can rest assured of that. Alright, I got a lot of work to do, y'all. And I want to emphasize this was one that I built probably about this time last year, if I'm remembering correctly. It was a little bit before Manchester, about a month before Manchester. Gatekeeper said that. Happy Father's Day coming up. I know I'll be going out of town possibly, while my cuz keeps this domain held down nice and tight. Thank God for my cousin. Old Gatekeeper said it. We gone. Bye bye bye.